GWATA TV gives you a first look at North Central Washington's business news. You'll hear from our local business, tech, and education companies as Jenny discusses hot topics and current events with some of the best innovators and pioneers in North Central Washington.
Hello, North Central Washington. Welcome to GWATA TV. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and it's a pleasure to be on air with you today. What is GWATA? Well, GWATA is a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 serving the 4 counties of North Central Washington. Our passion is around technology, entrepreneurship, and STEM education. And the primary way in which we serve the community is through events, education, and outreach. In fact, GWATA hosts over 40 events per year and supports another dozen. So if you've not checked out our website, I encourage you to go to GWATA.org to learn more about our events and programming. And good news for you watching here on the NCW Life channel, you can hear more about GWATA from the comfort of your home or computer. So enjoy today's episode. We're going to interview 2 different guests with 2 different missions in the community, but both are bringing a lot of passion and energy to make a difference. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with our first guest from Microsoft. Welcome back to GWATA TV. I'd like to introduce today's first guest, Lisa Karstetter, TechSpark Manager for Microsoft. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you on air.
I know, it's fun. It's been a while.
And Lisa, you are a long-time GWATA champion, champion of tech in our community. So for those who may not be familiar, let's start with a little bit of your background.
Okay. So, lived in Quincy for 29 years, married to an orchardist there. Managed the chamber there. I was the executive director when the tech started moving to the area, and I also was on the Grant County EDC board. So I kind of had a front row seat to seeing as the technology moved into the area. Was hired by Yahoo in 2007 and worked there until 2017. And then that fall, winter I guess, I went to work for Microsoft, thinking it was kind of going to be the same kind of community outreach job, but it's been much deeper. And with the TechSpark program, it really is really looking at how you can make change and what's missing here compared to maybe urban areas, you know, the opportunities that are there just because they're closer and there's more schools and more services and organizations. So really trying to figure out, navigate and kind of asset mapping of what's missing, what's here, and what we can do as an organization to support that.
And the TechSpark program is huge because, as you just alluded to, this isn't just a community relations position. You are working on digital transformation initiatives for our community. And honestly, I can't think of anyone better than someone who has roots in agriculture and understands our community and understands the needs of areas like Quincy and Warden and some of these smaller towns that don't have the same resources. So in terms of digital transformation and the work you're doing, it's a lot. It's a lot of big projects you have on your plate.
Because it's, you know, it's not just digital transformation, it's digital skills and career pathways, creating career pathways. Then it's like also digital transformation, supporting the broadband, you know, trying to build that out because really it's hard to digitally transform when you don't have broadband.
Right, you can't get online. How can you apply
and
digital
you know,
skills?
you can't go home and do homework and use your digital skills if you don't have broadband. So Microsoft also is, you know, really looking at, you know, how we can help and assist in kind of expanding that and growing that as well. And then also just support of our nonprofits in the area, like GWATA, like Applestem, and some of the others that we've partnered with around here.
I mean, really dozens of organizations you've worked with over the last year, and I know there's too many projects to count in a short 10-minute segment here, but tell me about some of the things you're really excited about through your work at Microsoft.
So, you know, it's important for people to know that my TechSpark area is very large, and I have Faire, Okanagan, Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and parts of Adams County. So it's this whole middle region. It's 1/5 of Washington State, And yet it's fairly sparsely populated with 272,000, around there people. So I'm really trying to find programs and partners that can scale what I'm doing instead of just picking something and just only focusing, in Wenatchee or Quincy or Moses Lake. It's like I needed to find partners that could scale that with me. I've found a great partner in North Central ESD and in the Apple STEM organization. So they kind of have a lot of the same footprint that I do, and it kind of overlaps, and there might be some gaps, but we're able to fill those. And we've been really doing some just amazing groundwork over the last year on some grants that we've given them.
And one of those grants, I know we were talking offline, is around computer science pathways.
Right.
And specifically, it's kind of a meaty computer science pathway articulation
Yeah.
amongst high schools, community college, and university. So why do high schools, community colleges, and universities need to work together on articulation?
Well, I think you have to back up and look at why the need. And there's 500,000 computing jobs open right now in the United States. In our own state, I think it's like 1,700 last 2 weeks ago when I looked. 1,700 positions, and they can't fill those. So when they took a look at where people were coming from with these skills, they weren't really coming from rural America, because they just weren't offering these programs. So Microsoft has our TEALS program that allows our computer science engineers to remotely teach these programs. We now have 23 schools in my TechSpark region that are offering this. And the North Central ESD has really worked to support that with us. But what we were finding is these kids could take AP, Intro to Computer Science, Intro, AP, and then they could go on and even take like an apps and program management. But there was no pathway for them to get credit at the colleges, at the college level, whether it was Big Bend, Wenatchee Valley College, or Central. A lot of them were just turning into electives. And so, as we noted when we were at our Central Summit, there was one gal that said, I took it at Big Bend, and then I had to take the same classes over again because it didn't transfer. So Microsoft gave a grant, a large digital skill grant, to try to bring all the parties to the table. And Apple STEM has kind of run that for us, and Dr. Sue Kane. And she's really worked to bring everyone together and to really be conscious about how we're articulating that. And everybody has just been amazing. I mean, Wenatchee Valley and Big Bend, they're all central. Now we have articulations that a kid can take a class. We know how it will transfer. They've all accepted how that's going to work. And then if they go to the community college, which 2/3 of the kids do start at a community college, then when they go on, they know that those college credits are going to transfer into their major at a 4-year. And that's a big thing, especially when you come from an area around here where we have a high poverty level. Let's make those count for those kids.
Right. College is not inexpensive. And so if they are not taking classes which don't translate into credit, they're going to move on into a different program because
Exactly.
they can't afford to take non-accredited classes or to get stopped in the system when they have families to provide for. A lot of these college students are also working and providing for families. So I think it's really neat that Microsoft said we have a workforce problem and has gone all the way down to the high schools to look at where are they getting held up. And this credit issue is huge. I know you've had a success just this last week with the accreditation process at Quincy.
Yes, Nicole Monroe, our CTE director there, got the first articulation agreement approved. So it's ready to go, and she's shared it with other TEALS teachers in the area and computer science. So it's great. And it's been really neat to see areas like Tonasket, Oroville, Omak, Chelan, all of them now have computer science. And the goal is not to have Microsoft teach that forever. It's really a train the trainer model. So on the back end, we also have partnered with the North Central ESD to provide some support for them, ongoing support, so that as they are, they learn and they take over those classes, how can we get them endorsements? Can we work on that so that if they move and go someplace else, they can take that skill that they learned, through the TEALS program and go teach, so it's kind of like grow the system.
Right, and it's really, there's multiple areas that you're trying to address and build sustainability. Like you
Yes.
said, you're trying to get the teachers empowered who are working so hard and have 100 things on their plates already.
Exactly.
So more resources for teachers. And then I love how, Nicole at Quincy has been able to share her agreement out with other school districts, which means that school district can use it as a tool and a resource to get credits for kids, because that's what it's about.
It's all about the kids. And, I think sometimes we get so focused on our program's the best, or we want the kids here, or, and really it needs to be about the students and about getting them the skills they need. And we're a smaller remote area, and so acting as one big family and embracing the kids that live in this area and giving them the best opportunities is really, what it's about. So my area is large, but I got great partners that are working with me to try to scale this so that there's no school left out of this, project, that everything that we do, I'm being very conscious about making sure that it's fair and equitable and rolling it out in a broad way. So it's been great, and I've found fantastic partners to do it with. So,
well, Lisa, thank you for all your advocacy for students in our community, especially in computer science and STEM, which is, something out of close to GWATA's heart.
Oh,
That's
yes.
for sure.
Absolutely.
And I would love to bring you back on air to share more of these stories, but I do want to tell the audience as we head to commercial break, there's a video about the computer science pathways, as well as information on what computer science pathway articulation means on the Apple STEM Network website. So you can go to applestemnetwork.com to learn more about computer science, how Microsoft is involved, and what you can bring back to your school or classroom. Stay tuned. We'll be back on GWATA TV in just a minute. And we're back on air on GWATA TV. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and I'd like to introduce our next guests, Heather Inchauskas. I did it. Okay. So, Heather, welcome to GWATA TV. In our first segment today, we were talking to Microsoft about their initiatives in computer science and technology across the region. You're with the North Central Regional Library, also really involved with STEM education and technology. But let's start with your role. What do you do for the North Central Regional Library?
So I'm STEM Services Manager, and we have 3 STEM technicians. One's in Ephrata, one is in Republic, and then one is here in Wenatchee with us. And I oversee the technicians and the STEM programming for all 30 of our branches at NCRL. So we have branches in 5 counties in North Central Washington, and we do programs at the branches, in the schools. We train the librarians how to do the STEM programs, and we'll bring robotics or engineering or science programs to them, teach them how to use the materials and how to do the education behind the programs, and then they are hopefully able to lead their own programs after that. And then we can also focus on going into the community to do other programs that are at festivals or fairs or outreach events.
And you're the largest library kind of territory in the state, aren't you? As far as the
region,
for the region, yes.
Yep, we have the most geographical space that we cover.
Yeah, it's pretty large, and a lot of these are rural communities that maybe don't have access to programs without the library and without your resources. So for the traditional person who might think library and books and not library and tech, why does the library support technology and STEM learning?
Yeah, so we are definitely thriving to evolve to bring tech into all of the communities, especially the rural communities. And we really see it as a lifelong learning process for adults, kids, and teens. And there's so many technology devices that people don't have access to. Hotspots, for instance, we are working on getting hotspots into multiple communities, rural communities that maybe don't have access to internet. People can look for jobs, they can look at all the library resources we have to offer, look up housing, anything that they need to look up. But besides just that kind of technology, we offer a lot of programs for children. We have 3D printers and a laser cutter now, and we hope to be able to bring this kind of stuff out to the community and bring it to people who haven't gotten the opportunity to work on it before.
And so, as you just mentioned, a lot of it's around youth, but this digital transformation is also for our adult learners.
Yes.
It's providing a spot. I wouldn't have thought for the Wi-Fi to look for a job, right? And to get on a computer if you don't have that access at home.
Yep.
Really important work that you're doing. What are you most excited about right now as far as what's ahead for the North Central Regional Library in STEM programming?
Yeah, I'm really excited about checking things out to the public that are not books. Not that I don't love checking out books to the public, but some of the stuff that we do for programs for kids that aren't really available for actually the people to come and check out. So we have a lot of STEM kits and robotics that people cannot come to the library and check out. They have to come to the library when we're doing programs or to a community event when we're doing programs.
And what is a kit?
A kit is something we normally send to our branch librarians, so they're not available to the public, but it will be Lego robotics or an engineering activity, and those are what our branch librarians check out basically from the distribution center to teach programs to the kids. Currently we don't have anything like that we check out to the public, but with the library card you can come in and check out something like a nature backpack. So we have nature backpacks available that people can check out. We're hoping that next winter we get our snowshoe collection off the ground. So we have a lot of snowshoes, and next winter we are trying to check them out to the public so people can go out and they can just snowshoe, but they can also do some snow science and some water science when they're out there. We hope to lead some
So
of
you're
those
pioneering not just in the tech field, but in recreation and
Yes.
outdoor learning.
Outdoor learning. So we talk a lot about technology when we talk about STEM, but there's this whole umbrella of sciences that don't always get covered, and I love outdoor science, and so we've been leading snow school programs, and so the kids will come out. We'll meet a school at a park, and we will lead a snow science activity. With those snowshoes, we hope that we can start checking them out to the public so they can do their own recreational activities. And we'd like to be able to lead snow school for adults next winter. So we'd meet adults at a place and we'd lead these science programs. We're really hoping to, actually, we are going to be checking out telescopes in the fall. So we have 3 telescopes that we're going to use for programs for this summer. We're going to have a couple night programs to come. And then in the fall, we'll start checking them out. They'll be permanently housed at a certain branch, so it always has to get delivered back to that branch. And I don't have those 3 branches yet, but
it's a resource coming.
It is coming
to the community.
Yes, and they'll be pretty spread out. So I'm thinking one in Ephrata, Moses Lake area, and then maybe one up north, and then one somewhere in the Wenatchee Valley. And so people can check that out for a certain amount of time, and then they'll have to bring it back to the library that they check it out from.
That's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
your list of activities, from robotics and 3D printing to snowshoes.
Yes.
I wasn't aware, and we've been working really closely kind of on the STEM initiative. So thank you for all that work you're doing in the community. You also do some collaborative events, and there's one coming up, the Wenatchee Mini Maker Faire, that the North Central Regional Library has partnered to participate in. Tell us, why do you attend community events and do outreach? What's the goal there?
I love bringing the technology or whatever it is that we are using out into the public, because sometimes people will not have access to that in their home. And it is a lot of fun to maybe put on a virtual reality headset and immerse yourself in that world, but it's also, people can go to a different country. They can learn inside of that. It's just a new technology that they're learning just by putting it on and being in that different world, I guess, as you will. But that's exciting to me to see people do that for the first time, to see people be able to make their own 3D printed project on a computer and then transfer that to the 3D printer and have that print. And they might not have access to that otherwise. So,
and it's really tangible. So at the Maker Faire, you are doing a couple different activities that anyone, adult and child, can participate in.
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
So we're doing virtual reality at the Maker Faire, and right now it's 13 or older who can do virtual reality with our headsets. So there hasn't been a ton of research.
Because there is some motion.
There's a lot of motion.
Yeah.
The one, we'll probably pick a couple different activities, and I think one is going to be quill, which is an art activity. So you have some kind of writing utensil in your hand, and you're basically writing in the air, and you're creating this 3D artwork that you are in. And then we will have another app on the other virtual reality headset. We haven't picked that one yet. We have a lot to
Another reason that you have to come down to the Maker Faire and see.
Yeah, you have to come see which one it is.
Right.
In addition to that, we'll have a building room. So we're going to have kivas, which are wooden building blocks, and then straws and connectors, and a really cool one that I like called Rigamajig. And it's these big wooden planks and plastic screws that kids can build a large creation with. And that's no age limit. Anybody can come into the building room. We're probably going to have some robotics in there as well, just a few. And we haven't decided which one. Probably Sphero or something that isn't, that you don't have to put together. But, so an easier robot,
Right.
And the building.
But all exploratory learning.
all
things.
Hands-on learning, creative thinking, are skills that people can expect from our booth.
And now, how can people learn more about the programs and offerings of the library? Where should they head to?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, the NCR website, there is a calendar on the website that is in one of the drop-down tabs in the front, and you can go on there and you can look at every single branch and all of our programs, or you can specifically click the branch that you would like to know what's going on at, and it'll pop up if there is an event that you can attend. And sometimes it's sign up or age limits, so you just have to look at the description.
Okay, to find out more. And then for those who might be in Wenatchee Valley, the library has moved locations temporarily.
Yes.
As well.
We have moved down on Orondo, or it's Wenatchee Ave and Orondo is the corner that we're on, and we are remodeling our building right now, and that will be done, I think, in a year. I'm not the...
You're not the facility side.
Yeah,
okay, that's all right.
And I'm in the distribution center, but I know it's in the process of getting remodeled, and I think we have our building rented for a year or so.
So they can find you in a new spot if you are in Wenatchee on Orondo and Wenatchee Ave, and of course can come out to the Maker Faire.
Yes.
The Maker Faire is coming up June 1st at the Town Toyota Center, free event thanks to our many partners from 9 to 3. Well, Heather, thank you for joining me on the air to share a little bit more about what you're doing. It is time, unfortunately, for us to wrap up, so check out Heather and the programs that they have at the library online, and be sure to visit us at the Maker Faire and at our website, GWATA.org. We'll see you next week.
Since 1999, GWATA has served as North Central Washington's Tech Alliance. As a 501c3, our mission is to bring people and technology resources together to create a thriving community. Through our work, we aim to inspire, engage, and connect.